And for that, I'm going to continue using the Juice framework. Can download from the GitHub site. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new application and plugin. And if you don't know already how to work with Juice, you should check out my other video where I work with the show here Wusik ZR from scratch. So I'm going to put this on the link description. But the Wusik ZR I created from scratch using Juice in a series of videos, and you can check there how I started with Juice. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the Producer program that comes with Juice, and I'm going to create a new project inside it. So let me close it here. Here. So file new project, and it's going to be an audio plugin. And let me find my folder here. I'm going to create a new folder. Folder is going to be not host actually. That's just for me to know what it is about. I'm going to create plugin. So it's going to be audio plugin. I'm going to be using Visual Studio 2017. And let's create. So close this other one. So I have my project here. And I'm not going to mess much with the project name, project version, because I'm going to do this on the compiler itself. I can put the company name and other stuff here. And I'm going to disable the report juice app usage. I have disabled the juice splash clean. So project type is audio plugin. So VST3, standalone, and VST legacy, which is VST2. I don't know why they call this legacy, just VST2. Simple as that. Plugin is a synth. Plugin has MIDI input. And everything else is the same. Plugin name, description, manufacturer. Manufacturer code is, I think is that. I don't remember. Let me check on my other project. Copy the file. I left blank. So it's not a problem. I can change on the code. So it's not really important right now. And the channel configuration is always 2 inputs and 2 outputs. Let me save this just in case. Now the modules, I'm going to use the basic modules. And I'm going to add a few of my custom modules. Mostly the utilities. Yeah, just the utilities that I use. And now on the exporters, for now I'm not going to add the debug, just the release. And now here I have to put things in the right folder. I think it's correct. Let me look again here on my previous project because I remember that I was using, yes, Windows Staggered Platform 8.1. That's important. Point, not comma. Everything else pretty much the same. And I can copy some folders. I'm going to leave it like that. And let me see here. So I need to also add my logo. My binary location is where is going to be all the plugin files and also the standalone files. Binary name, I'm going to leave it blank. It's going to use just main engine. Debug is disabled. Check a few things out. Oh yes, this is going to, let's say Wusik Station version 9. The binary name. And the name here is Wusik Station version 9. It's going to be 64 bits, intermediate path, Wusik Station version 9, 64. Everything else is pretty much the same. So let me add now on my file explorer, sorry. I'm going to add my logo file that I use. It's here logo. This is it for the standalone version icon. I can do this later, but it's better to just add it now so I don't forget. So for now, I'm just going to create the Wusik Station version 9.64. But later, for each of the plugins I'm going to create, I'm going to add more exporter here. Just can go and create a copy. But for now, I'm not going to do that. Station. So this is a preprocessor definition. So my code knows that this compile is going to be for Wusik Station version 9. On the Mac side, on OS 10, I'm going to create multiple versions of the file because it doesn't have this option that we have in here with Microsoft Studio. Okay, let me continue. I'm just checking something here on my computer, just a minute. I'm just checking my stream quality, if it's working correctly. Okay, let me see here. Let me export this and open on Wusik Studio, Visual Studio. I'm a bit slow today, but I'm trying to work this out. So let me check the cherry code, and engine, source, and you have the processor and the editor here. So just going to quickly compile this and see if everything works. Just to start up this thing. Start up a new machine, and it has 8 cores. It's a Ryzen computer, and this thing is fast. It's really fast. I got this a few months ago, and I can totally recommend. This is a bit older already, but it was what I could afford. The 3000 is much better, but for me this one is already miles ahead of what I had before with the i5, I think. was very slow. Okay, the Hello World standalone version is working correctly. And I created this Wusik Station version 9 here so I can go on my library code, app configuration, and here on the user code section, I can add if it's Wusik Station version 9, I can then change the name. Let's see, plugin name, plugin description, plugin name, plugin description. Manufacturer, I'm going to leave the same. Manufacturer code. Let me check what I'm using, just so I keep using the same one. Wusik engine. Actually, have, I have to use the same one. Wusik engine inserts here app configuration. Is it? Oh, here manufacturer code. Yeah, it was WUSK as I was thinking, so it was correct. Okay, let me put this on the top here just in case. Now I need the plugin code. Which I have here somewhere. Okay, this is one. Those are the three codes for the Woochout, the FX version, and the normal version. So right now I'm creating the normal version. So description. Because this was a hack I was doing on the juice code, but I'm not doing anymore. So I have to create separate compiles for each one. It's a bit boring to do, but that's okay. Remember what it was. Internet. I try to remember something, but I got a blank right now. So anyway, let me add manager's name. Descriptions down here, version number, and register settings I'm not going to use right now. So the code is this guy here for the regular version. Version number, register settings I'm not going to use. And the description is this one. Okay. So this code I'm creating right now is going to call an external application, which is going to load my actually plugin or standalone code or whatever. Okay, so let me see. Version number. This is not the most important thing right now, but it's kind of important. So I already get things right from the start. Copy. Everything else is going to stay the same. So for now, I'm not going to bother much about this one. So let's start. Take a looking at the calls, and I will have to get some information from the actual code because I don't remember everything. So let me open up my file in here. This guy. I'm going to open on Visual Studio. So this is the actual code, the plugin code with everything inside. And I want to get some information right now on the number of programs and number of parameters. And it's in here. I have to check now where it's getting the information. To have the get number of programs here and get number of parameters, which is could be different depending on the product. So take a look what it's actually outputting. Oh, here maximum number of parameters, which it's fixed for all products, 6,000. So I can go here on my code. It's in here. Yeah, it's not in here, so I have to create. Not a problem. Let me copy this here. Parameters. Return 6,000 because it's fixed. And then I have to get the number of programs. It will be around here. 1,024. This one is here. Get number of programs. Return 1,200. 1,200. Sorry, in Portuguese we don't really say 1,200. We say it in a different way. 24. Sorry, it's even wrong. It's 1,024. Current program. That's going to be tricky. That current program. So it is one input, one output. I'm going to leave some of the options here because they are fixed. Where is the plugin name? And doesn't need to be there. Accepts medias, produce medias, use media effect, everything here. I'm going to set as fixed. Accept MIDI is true. Produce MIDI is false. Is MIDI effect is false. And tail is always going to be 0. And there is one thing I like to change. Hate this stuff here. Just my way of adding things, so can ignore that. The people say, "Oh, you put things in the wrong indentation," but hey, it's my code. Who tells you I can't do that like that? Well, I don't care. Sorry. I just like to put this in the way I do because it makes sense to me. Oh, this code is old. I just forgot to change, copyright information. It's not a big deal. So okay, I got my code going. Number of programs already put it fixed. 1024. Number parameter 6000. And find myself what I was doing again. Not a big deal. Okay. A lot of rewriting stuff in here that I want to get rid of, but I'm not going to use. So right now I'm just doing some cleanup to the code so it looks the way I like. So pardon for me if you don't really appreciate this, but it's just the way I work. Release research I'm not going to use, so I can leave it blank. I think I can just remove it. I have to check. There's some calls you just can't remove. This is not being used. And we have the process block. All this, the normals is good. And I'm not going to use this all this code in this way. I have to check. Because on the process block, I have to send information to the application I'm going to open and retrieve information from that. Has editor is always going to be true because all my plugins has an editor. So I'm not going to bother with the no editor option. No need. State information is important. So as the set state information. So those are going to take a look soon. Okay, it's already complaining about something. Yeah, release resource must have an overrider. So I'm going to put it back. This guy, release resources. Sorry, my voice is a bit deep today. Because of the air conditioner. It's very hot in here. Very, very hot. It was 47 last year. This year, we already hit above 36, if I'm not mistaken. 34 for sure, but. So, okay. This is the code so far. It's just a regular plugin with a hello world editor. And I'm just going to compile just to double check everything's all right. Oh, there is one thing I can change. I forgot. Close this guy. I'm going to remove the option of link time optimization because it doesn't help much. It's less than 1% and takes forever to compile. So link time optimization disabled. I already done some testing it and it doesn't do much. So I'm going to leave it off. especially because if I'm not mistaken, the link time optimization doesn't use multi-core. At least from what I look at the processing, the performance processing per core, the the compile uses all the cores, but the linking doesn't use all the cores. At least from my experience, I could be wrong. I don't know. So let me open. Okay, the hello world is still there. And now I had to start thinking how I'm going to call the external process, application or whatever. And then there's a truck passing by here. Very noisy. Let me open my Wusik engine again. I'll have to change my Wusik engine so it's no longer a plugin, it's just an application, and that's all. And I'm going to have several applications for each product. So I have one for Eve, one for Wusik 2008, one for Wusik 1, and one for Wusik Station. And those all share the same base code of the Wusik engine, while the other products such as Wusik ZR has a total new code. It doesn't share anything, just a few modules, but well, it's not anything, but it's 90% is not shared. So here instead of plugin, it's going to be an application. So I have to change this project to create an audio processor inside of the application and carry from there. It's not hard, just take a bit time of creating this. And the advantage of this is that if the plugin crashes, it doesn't crash the host or DAW, the host, the DAW, yeah, that's correct. So let me take a look at my modules here, and I have the scanner and my piped plugin. The piped plugin is already my 32 to 64-bit bridge code I have created. And basically, it has everything in here already set up. So I could copy from here, but I would like to revise this code and be sure that everything is correct for the continue. And so when it loads a plugin, you can see here it creates two shells. It creates a new pipe. A pipe it's a communication between two processes. On here is all common shell, and it's going to open this guy, set him here. Where is this string shell bridge? Where is it? Oh, it's a macro. Sorry, that's a problem with macro. Sometimes you get lost. It creates a shell bridge for the program, 32 bits. Know what I mean? Sends information about the name of the first pipe I'm creating, file name, the ID of the plugin. And most of the stuff I'm not going to be needing. Can just call the shell and because I know what I'm calling. It's always going to be the same thing internally. If it's Wusik Station, it's going to call the Wusik Station shell. So yeah, that's pretty much that. And you can see that I start a child process with the command shell. And then after that, I start reading from the pipe processing some data. And from there, I get number of parameters, number of programs, get all the name of the parameters, all the name of the programs. And another thing I will have to add some extra options. So my child process, let's call this child process, easier to understand. So the child process can also tell my main code that something changed, like the name of the parameters, the name of the programs, because when a Wusik station loads a new program, it changes that. So let me show to you. See if this is compiled. Oh yeah, it's compiled. So I don't have the name programmer listening here, but the thing is actually very simple. When you load a program, it populates all the program names from this directory listing. So I have to change that. And the number of the parameters also change because each program has different parameters because of the layers and everything else. So thinking here, just a minute. So I'm not going to use this code as it is because it's expecting a few things because this code was created to load any type of plugin because it's a bridge code. So I'm not going to use as it is, but I'm going to take some ideas from it so I don't have to redo a lot of stuff. So I'm going to start with the bridge code. Oh, come on. What am I opening? Oh, here. So when this thing opens, before I do anything else, I want to check if there has been done any validation to the plugin. This is good, especially if OS 10, because it starts to load the plugin. It loads 3 times very fast, and for some reason, it just kills the plugin instead of closing correctly. I don't know why it does like that, but it does. So my destructor is not even being called, and I have no idea why. And it crashes the validation process. So this is good because it's going to avoid that. So let me think now. Because the first thing I need to do here is add a few things to the processor in here. The data files and initialization. Going to create that already. It's not using this, so I can remove that. When it needs to find first the data files, and if the data files are found, you can load the actual code. Another thing I could do instead, I need the data folder anyway, so I have to check in here. Code, code was in data files. Right here. So I have to load from the registry. And here it is. My global settings in the code is not on an external module, so let me check. This is a code I use to handle the registry. I'm going to create this on the. I should create this on a module actually, but I don't remember why I didn't. So for now, I'm going to leave it in the processor code instead. There must be a reason why I did like this. I just don't remember. Okay. And I'm going to put this in here. So, okay. I'm going to create also the data files error variable. Then I don't need the found data files. Just check if it's empty or not. It's silly to have two variables for that. In this case, if I don't find, I set up the files correct. If it's not empty, then I can carry on for the rest of everything else. Okay, so now I can go to the plugin editor and start constructing there my own stuff. Once it's a bit larger, resizing option. Wait, let me remove that from the code. Resize it is not needed right now. Oh, actually, I will need later on, so I'm going to leave it there. I don't need it right now, but it's going to be needed. Because I'm going to have to check if the child process has changed the size. So I changed the size of my main window. That's going to be very complicated to do, but I already found it when I did the pipe plugin. And we're going to see this later, but it is possible. It's just a bit of a hack, but it works and it's not really a problem. It's a bit hard code. Okay, so I have my process here, and when it paints, I have to check two things. If processor, oh, it's processor. What's the name of the variable again? The file is not empty. Then we're going to draw something. A screen. So it's going to show the error in the screen. Yeah, that's why it's better to use a ball variable, because it gets a bit big in here, but it's not a big deal. But I'm going to use like that so I don't have two variables to worry about. And let me check. There's some mouse stuff. Where's the mouse clicked? I always forget how it writes. So we need now the mouse up. When we click on the interface, it does something. We're actually going to use several calls for the mouse, like mouse up, mouse down, and mouse enter, and even mouse exit for the interface of the child process. But we're going to look at this later on, not soon, later on. Okay, so now I already have a part of the code here. If the data file is error, I'm going to show the error. Right now there is just one error, but maybe later you're going to have more errors. Like it found the engine folder, but it didn't find the child process file. We're going to do this now. I'm going to try to find our string. File. Trailing. Got the trailing separator, so I just can go and what's the name I'm going to give now? Need a name. So if you go into Wusik station data, each program has its own folder. Good question. Could use the name of the plugin. That's why I have the registry. Now I remember why. Go here, code, registry settings. Because sometimes it could be different from the actually plugin name. Right now it is not, but that is best that I leave this option there just in case. See again, registry settings. Last is just the file tray separator. And what I'm going to look for is, I think I'm going to call process. And then yeah, I think I'm going to call that file of that exist not, do not find the file external process file. And I'm going to create a file for that. So I can print what I'm looking. I may change this at some time. Just thinking about something. Okay, I'm going to check in the Wusik in path. Is not found. It's going to set the data files error. And continue here. Files error is not empty. Empty actually. Oops. It's empty. Sometimes I forget the name of the calls, but that's normal. Getting hot in here. So if it's empty, checks to see if the process file is in there. And then again, on the last part, if it's still empty, it means that everything is okay. I can load the file. But then I'm going to check if initialization has happened. And has initialization happened? Not going to call has init actually. Has validated. You're going to understand later on what I'm doing. Validation in here. Okay. So now I can check on my editor. Let's go back to the editor. So there's, if the data file zero is empty, is not empty, it's going to print that. And as if processor haven't been validated, it's also going to print something. In this case, let's say click here to validate the plugin, to auto-validate the plugin and continue. Something like that. I can change this later on. So click here to auto-validate the plugin and continue. And now I have to check on the mouse up. So I can actually copy these guys here. Oops, forgot to add the call name. So we're going to have 3 options in here. If you didn't find the data folder, you can click and locate it. So I'm going to copy my code in here because quite recreate when you can copy, right? Press it, paint, is it mouse up somewhere around here. It's going to be something like this, but I have to change actually. So it's going to ask to browse for the data folder. And now I'm going to actually try to load again this guy, the external process guy. Going to exists. Well, it's good that I could processor. I didn't. I didn't store the data file. Forgot that. So let me create another variable for that. Files. The data file string being used. Oh, actually it is. Okay, the data files should have the full data folder now. The add trailing separator is important, so I always know that the data files has the, the trailing separator after the name. So I'm going to check for the process, and I also check if I can write to the folder. Interesting. Oh, I don't really need this here. And I don't really need to reload because I can reset the plugin after it finds the data folder. I'm going to change this later. I'm not going to bother about this now, but and the error should be this. Could not find the external process file. Okay. And okay, check a few things in here. The validation actually must be retrieved from the registry settings. So I'm going to read the global settings again. Oh, actually, it's complaining now. Hmm. Has two strings. Okay, that should do it. So the validation I'm going to write on the registry too. Don't like that, to be honest. I'm thinking where to put it. Hot in here. Ooh. Turn the AC down, so it's going to be a hot day. So let me think a bit. This is not going to work for me. So I check the Wusik engine. If I found it, I go to the next step, which is the validation. Actually, no, the next step is not validation. If I run it now, it's going to complain that there is no external process file because I haven't created one, of course. Let's could not find a required external process file. Process. Yeah, okay, that's what I wanted. So let's create a dummy file, just test. Then I can also test with that if the process doesn't open. Station version 9 process dot. Ooh. I managed to press enter and delete at the same time. Process. No. Station version 9. That's what. Well, some typo perhaps. What is there? Oh, it's missing a separator. This guy. Should just show, yeah, the auto validation. Okay, that's correct now. So what I'm going to create, I'm going to create an XML just for the process and put on a process folder. Yeah, that should work. Let me take a look at my XML files again because I can create just the name again in here somewhere. User settings, a properties file. So let's go here and create that. I'm going to call it process settings instead. And let me check where my user settings. Where is it? Files. I just check if I need to save it before closing up the plugin. It's nice to do that so it doesn't lose any information. So it's going to be process settings instead. Oops. Process settings, save it needed. Set fallback, I'm not going to use it. And then I can just kill it. And to create it should be quite simple. A new property settings file. Here, a new property options. So, and here is where I'm going to check if the folder has permissions. Nice place to check that. Synth name. Oh, just plugin name. Okay, so process settings, data files. It's going to be on the. I put it twice. File registry settings, process folder. Okay, that's correct. So if it fails, could not open, create the external process settings file. Otherwise, it has opened and I can start getting information from there. So has validated both get volume value validated. That's it. Now I can start adding there. So if it haven't been validated, it's true. Set value, validated. True. Simple as that. Oh, of course, repaint. And at some later point, I'm going to restart the external plugin, or just start if you haven't started yet. I'll probably start actually. Yeah, it's going to start. For now, I'm not going to bother about that. So let's see if it's going to work it out. So it has validated now, and it has not saved it. So let's take a look in here. Oh, it didn't create any file in here. Did close it? Check what's going. Weird. This has been called. No, it's not been called. Nice. Uh, I have right. going on? They did. The word, the word is right. Hmm. I'm probably doing something wrong. Ah, okay. That's the thing. Forgot to put the extension for the file name. Ah, it's not going to create on the right place, actually. Process slash process slash plus process.xml. Now it should work. It's funny that they actually created the thing. Now it's working, yeah. Even though the file name was wrong. Data equals 1. Okay, that's good by me. So I don't need to do. And I could. Okay. Kill this guy. Validation. Load computer operation. Yeah, that's good enough for now. I'm going to change this at some point. I'm going to create now. Checking here. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to take a short break now. And I'm going to continue on this afternoon. Because now I have to think on how I'm going to start the actual child process. I'm probably going to start a new thread and load from there because I can't keep hogging the process on the startup here. I just can't free this up so the host can continue. So I'm going to create another thread for that. And on that thread, I'm going to take care of the child process and everything else. But before I start a thread, I want to actually create the child process. So when the thread starts running, you can already access the child process right away because all the calls to program name and process block, state information, everything else has to call to the child process actually. And I'm going to think about it's going to be on the thread and it's going to be a bit tricky, but I have done this already on the Pipet plugin from the Wusik engine. But I want to do it different in here, more directly, so it doesn't add a lot of overhead. And before I continue, this already being 1 hour of work, a bit over 1 hour, I'm going to create a backup of this. Always back up your data, guys. Never forget that. So I have two files I always create is the backup dot batch and the text file for the backup information. So where is it? New guy here, main engine here. And I'm going to edit the locations on here. Always do this before you continue. If you lose some things, you have a copy of the thing you were doing. So I have the source files. It's main engine, the name. The app config, which I'm going to slowly add more opcodes there. Let's see if this creates correct file. Copies actually copy a lot of stuff. Let me check. Backup. It's not the right name, but that's okay. Okay, I know. I forgot to change the batch file. In batch file. A simple batch file created. Use WinRAR main engine and backups from this location instead. This is very handy. If you want a copy of this, just let me know. And I have a registered version of WinRAR, so it doesn't do all the pop-ups. Wusik main engine, Wusik main engine. First, yeah, everything in here. It's in here. Okay, that's correct. Sorry. Sometimes my English trips a bit. And then the trick, don't just keep a copy on a computer, copy somewhere else. I'm going to use FileZilla to copy it to my server. And I'm going to do this in just a minute after I log out. So I always have two places where this has been copied, and I also have two external hard drives and another cloud account with pCloud. Cloud is very good, very, very cheap. So I have everything in there too. So can always have redundancy for the files. That's good. Okay, this is for this video. I'm going to be back in around 1 hour and a half or so, I think. And then I'm going to continue with the next step. So it's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be good. So as always, thanks for watching.